to learn how to paint acrylics. My name is Michael Pickett and I'll be your instructor. Well, today's lesson will be a landscape and it'll be a country road, just like this one. And I hope you enjoy it. Let's go to my studio and I'll show you how to do it. I'll see you there. Well, we're finished with the drawing of the country road. Now we're going to take our burnt sienna and plenty of water and we're going to cover that whole canvas. And when the canvas is completely covered, we're going to take our sock and then we're going to wipe away all that paint, leaving the pencil show through. There we go. Now we're going to get our burnt sienna and our blue together, but more burnt sienna than blue, and then we're going to create a wash over the road. You can see some of the pencil through the paint, and that's what you want, because that's just an undercoat for now. A little bit more blue in with the brown, make it darker, then we're going to outline this side of the road. When the road is outlined, then we'll take the same mixture and we'll start adding in the trees. And we'll switch to our smaller brush and then we'll do some more details. The smaller trees, the twigs, the branches, and this will all be the undercoat. We're basically getting everything placed in where it goes and our basic outline. We'll work on some more branches. We'll get some trees put in, some smaller trees. Now you're looking at the photograph at the same time you're doing this, is to see where the trees are. We get our number 2 brush and we'll place the bigger tree on the right hand side, and then we'll take our 0 brush, fill it in and outline it. Now we're going to take a mixture of yellow, red, and white, and we're going to make a wash over the whole background. Now we're going to wipe away the rest of the paint with our sock. Now we're going to get our number 0 brush, and we're going to go over the top of that into more detail. By putting your yellow, red, and white into the background and then wiping it off, now you're placing the burnt sienna and black together. You're creating the shadows of the trees in front of your light, which gives the optical illusion that the sun is coming through the trees. Let me see how that works. You get that nice and dark. Do a little more detail. You have the two trees together. And now we're going to get a little bit lighter brown, and we're going to add the bark to the tree on the right hand side. We take our yellow and white, and we're going to detail some of those trees in the background. The sunlight is reflecting off the trees from behind. Isn't that cool? It's a lot of fun. Getting that sunlight in there, and we're getting the reflected sun on those two trees in the foreground. We're getting more light in the background. Adding more sunlight there in the front. Blue and your yellow make green. So you mix the blue and yellow, you have your green with a touch of black, and you make darker green. And with your fan brush, you take and you dab it up and down real fast, and then you can create the foliage. See how that works? And you can do the grass, the trees, the foliage, just about anything with your fan brush. You lighten it up in the front with your fan brush, and it looks like grass. With a few dabs here and there with your fan brush, and you can create really cool illusions of foliage and trees and leaves. You take a little bit of white in with that, and you have a lighter green. Some of it looks like white blossoms. You add a little more yellow and it looks like yellow blossoms. You have it where the sun is reflecting off of the foliage from the side of the road. You get more of your yellow and white together with your zero brush, and you detail some of those trees. And then you detail some of the bushes and some of the limbs. I'm going to add in some of the sunshine onto the road, underneath the trees. Kind of detail around it. Add a little bit more. Now we're going to add the shadow on the road and use your number 2 brush, burnt sienna and blue. A little more blue than burnt sienna to give it a cool color. Then we're going to go over the road. Just put in the shadows and then leave the areas to where the sunlight is shining through. Leave that open. And we're basically just placing the undercoat. So once we get the shadows in, we use our burnt sienna and blue with our zero brush. And we do a little more detail on the tree. We add a little more detail and background to the trees using our zero brush. Basically, we're just going back and forth from our light and our dark. Getting the trees filled in. Do more detail in the front part of it. Now we're going to outline the road. You see how that brings the road out, levels it off? It actually makes the foliage look rounder and sets the road level. Do some highlights and shadows. Shadow one side of the tree darker. And then on the other side of the tree, we'll add a little more light, yellow and white. We add a few dots here and there for the leaves. We'll accent some of the bushes with a few dots of white and yellow. Now we're going to add the sunlight onto the tree. Okay, now we're going to work on the road. Use your number 2 brush, white, and burnt sienna, and a touch of yellow for the sunlight shining on the road through the trees. Get that all filled in. You want to make it nice and blurry. When the sun shines through the leaves onto the road, it just makes the shadows blurry. And some shadows are a little sharp. Add a little bit of light into the shadow, and not very much, but just a hint of light to show where the tires drive over your road. Once you put the tire marks onto the road, it ties everything together. See how that works? Okay, we're going to use our zero brush and we're going to do the fine detail. We're going to use our burnt sienna and yellow. We're going to add some more highlights where the sun's shining through onto the road. And of course, you know, a road has gravel and dirt clods and all that. So you have to highlight those too as well. Now add a little more sunlight into the background. Highlight everything here and there. Now I'm going to outline the edge of the road. Kind of blend it in. We're going to be switching back and forth between your number 2 brush and your 0 brush. We're going to be doing some highlights and details. We're using your white, yellow, burnt sienna, and your blue and black. I'm just going to go back and forth, adding light here and adding dark there. See how all that's coming together? With our fan brush, we're going to do a little bit of touch up here and there. Now we're going to use our 0 brush. We're going to use a black and a touch of yellow to darken the side of the road. Add a few dots within the grass area. We'll create our flowers. We'll put in some irises. We're going to use our 0 brush. We're going to use red, blue, yellow, white. We're going to create the flowers that are in the grass. I'm going to add a little bit of highlight here and there. There's some in the shadows. Well, we'll just work on our finishing touches. We'll do the shadow of the foliage onto the road. So we just kind of outline the road a little bit darker. There we go. Now all we have to do is sign the painting. We'll take some black on our number 2 brush and we'll paint the edges of the painting. And there you go. There's a country road. Okay, well that was a country road. That was really a lot of fun to do, and I hope that you like doing that too. Well, until next time, I will see you next week. You have a great day and happy painting. Bye.